All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
by
by
Hashem,
Hashem,
Yahweh
Yahweh
Shai,
Shai,
by
by
Hashem,
Hashem,
Rakakwadash.
Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the Akimai, pushing the word of sincerity and the truth.
Shalom.
Yeah, we're here with another lesson, going into Brace for Impact. 2020, year of prophecy. It's going to be some major, major events that's going to take place. Hell, it's already big things that's already been going on, and the new year has just started, in the group we just was going back and forth and looking at certain things pertaining to suicides, people that just dying and murders, people getting robbed. There was a lot of robberies that happened on New Year's. A lot of people got shot. A lot of homicides took place, and a lot of preparations for war also took place. Within the federal government, the United States, of course, United States federal government, all these other countries are centering, and they're putting their puzzle, well, their pieces, their chess pieces, where it needs to be. And when I say chess pieces, I'm talking about military vehicles, talking about men, talking about planes, drones, whatever investments that they have as far as warfare goes. They're either setting their pieces up to be enhanced and to be stronger for the coming battle, or they're starting to move pieces and starting to do things in the name of execution. You had the situation with the United States and Iran that took place. I think that was actually a couple of days ago, which I'm not going to read in the article. That what was it? The preemptive action on the embassy. And they're going to make action. These different strikes and things of that nature. The scriptures speak about how there's wars and rumors of wars. They're going to constantly build to a bigger and more hostile war, which the Bible states of the war Armageddon, and it's going to hit everybody, whether directly or indirectly. If you're not fully engaged in the war, you're still going to feel the economic hit. Even countries. When for instance, when world wars take place, all countries are in the world war. You have major powers like World War One. You didn't have all countries, each and every country in the world involved. But if you really want to be technical, they really were. But because they weren't directly involved, all right? All of them didn't have, troops, so to speak, being pushed for the battle. Some of them supplied economic, help. Some of them supplied whatever resources they possibly had, because you have certain countries that's weaker than others, and we're at the point where countries govern and rule over other countries. You see, so if Russia is going to war, everybody that Russia supplies their resources onto and protects, such countries such as Iran, and various other countries in the eastern hemisphere. Russia has a big what's the word I want to find, government going. It has a great connections when it comes to different countries and things of that nature. Over on the other side of the world. So they have to participate in war.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for the citizens? Higher tax rates, more oppression, more depression.
Yeah.
That's another reason why the common citizen is becoming sick. And we feeling the brunts here. The brunt here in America directly. But when the gears turn up and the American government demands more because they're more engaged in warfare,
Yeah.
then a lot of people are gonna start to arise. Whether they get emotionally hostile, whether they starting to go on a tangent, starting to rob and steal to take care of their family because their daily wages aren't enough to supplement them in their household.
Yeah, you didn't. Just add to your point. The more money that's being funded to the military, as far as weapons, hospitals and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the less jobs you have, and jobs will be taken away too.
Yeah.
So people are going to start losing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It really goes to the basically the value of the dollar, man.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, and that's what happened in World War II. A lot of people when they went to war, that's you had women starting to enroll in the workforce. So when men actually came back, it was a big controversy because one, a lot of men were losing their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and two, if men weren't losing their jobs, they're taking the jobs and the roles back from women, and women have to sit their asses back down and not make money. So what happens?
Yep.
They complain. They start
Mm-hmm.
to build unions, so to speak, and start to protest and come up with a political agenda, such as the women's liberation and things of that nature, to demand more liberty and more freedom. And
Mm-hmm.
they would actually fight and oppose the government to actually gain those rights. So if it took, in these times, if it takes, having a militia of armed men to demand and to get more supplies, people are going to result in that likeness to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's starting to get to that point of it's a being a killer be killed society, man.
Kind.
I want to read this article, but I want to we can start off with 2nd Ezra 15:15
All right. Kind.
because excuse me, we're living in the time of 2nd Ezra, man. Where you have individuals disregarding the kings and princes. You see these things in these different Trump protests, which they were speaking about if Trump is impeached or if Trump is actually removed from office, which a lot of people thought, the impeachment, means they actually throwing his ass out the house. They're actually basically putting charges on him while he's actually in the White House, which that's horrible, man. As a president, your job is to be pure. That's why when you first, get represented, or you're a representative to actually, fit that role, you're a candidate. And that word candidate means to be made white. So when charges are put upon you, that's a bad look for yourself and for the nation. But like I was saying, the individuals were on a tangent saying, if they treat or mistreat the president of the United States, then they're going on a war, man. They said
Kind.
World War III is going to crank back up. You had everybody with their MAGA hats,
Yeah.
white and black. You got some niggas on the side. They're like, look, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Whether families in a way or not, and we are our firsthand witnesses of it was that Matthew the 5th chapter where it speaks about how excuse me, I think Matthew 10:34, where the Lord is going to set at variance mother, father, child, daughter, relatives, siblings, and things of that nature. But you got it.
Kind. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people."
14, Salaki.
Okay. 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Yeah, and as we know, woe was if I'm not mistaken, an old English word which means destruction, man. And it says, "Woe to the world." The world is giant. I'm gonna use this word. I don't even know if this word even exists. Ginormous. A mixture of gigantic and enormous. The
Enormous,
world is big. Hey, most of us brothers haven't even been over. Hell, most people in the world haven't even been around their whole state. It's only a few people that travel city by city through their state. Actually, and that's damn near impossible to be honest. All
Yeah,
these
it
different
is.
cities in one state, and actually, like here in Georgia, right? It's islands I'm recently hearing about. I was like, damn, you have these islands in Georgia? Yeah, the Tibby Islands, if I'm not mistaken.
Tybee.
The Tybee Islands,
Savannah.
it
They
might.
say
Oh, go
Georgia. They say Georgia is state with the most counties.
See, and it's big. Georgia itself is big. And you have all kind of geographical landscape switching. Which right here we have a world map which we're on top of. Lord willing, which we'll try to incorporate in the spirit is get more into the world maps.
Time.
Start to present them. But you'll see different parts of the world. It'll have islands. It'll have basically uncharted regions where only a few people live. You have low key areas such as like let's deal on the world plane. You have the Amazon. You have certain parts of Africa. You have villages. You have small communities where different tribes live, and they're not
Asia.
over there in Asia and things of that nature. But the scripture says, "Woe unto the world." So, like I said, whenever the world is directly affected, it's a worldwide event. You know, and we know World War III is going to take place, as well as these different events the Most High through the Spirit has hitting these different places of the world. You know, you got troops all over the goddamn place. I was just reading about how the United States, not the United States, Africa is basically little China now, man. The Chinese have put and invested so much money into Africa, building corporations and building infrastructure and you know, taking over so many resources that they need to change Africa to you know, fucking little China. You know, find a new China. You know, you had New England and things of that nature. You know, and that's going on all over the place, man. You know, these different countries where it was basically it felt like a free land. It's starting to be oppressed. The oppressor is going all over the world, and he's sucking the resources to fight this major battle.
Damn.
You go ahead.
This verse 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men."
And the main thing, main sword in today's time is the gun. You know, you have a lot of gun prohibition acts trying to, you know, center itself within the government, and you have within the government the right to bear arms. Was that your Second Amendment? You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom of symbol. You have right to bear arms. You know, but it's starting to become a point where the common citizen bearing arms, he's a threat to the government. You know, why? Because people are becoming very, very sick, depressed, and oppressed. And depression leads to frustration. Frustration leads to action, whether you're an individual or you're in a group.
Group.
And in most cases, a lot of individuals just go out on a whim. You know why? Because this is an antisocial society. You're being put in a box, and whenever you're in a box and you're oppressed and depressed, you come out crazier. Look at the prisons in solitary confinement. When you're confined in your solidarity, and most people don't just come out talking like college professors. Come out with etiquette and well, I definitely appreciate that. Hell yeah, they gotta go back. They go out. They come back crazier, man. You know, some people, their skin starts to peel. They lose their hue. I was listening to this one guy. His nails started to fall off. You know, and some of, you know, depending on the prison, they'll put people in solitary confinement for a long ass time. You lose your teeth. You can lose your teeth in solitary confinement, man. You know. So these individuals that's in their box, they're going goddamn crazy. That's why the majority of these people in these cities are mentally ill. You know, I sent the article. I think it was last night or it was yesterday about Baltimore City. How that's the murder capital of the century, man. Of the century, and that's becoming a place where you can't go there, man.
You can't travel to it, man.
Yeah, you can't travel there. You can't travel there for opportunity. Some of them, certain cities, Detroit, which was known as a big booming city, motor city.
Yeah, as far as the industrial.
Yeah, their industrial size, their warehouses, their productions. You know, that was a hot center. Now, you know, that place is done, man.
Yeah.
You know, Chicago. You know, they're speaking about putting martial law in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, these different cities are you know, becoming, you know, here in Georgia is bad. You know, I mean, well, as far as Atlanta goes, it's bad, but it's still, you know, a limelight city. It's still a major attraction. You know, you have a few cities that's still very attractive to the eyes of people, but you got certain cities, you know, that where it's done.
Yeah.
And that's becoming that's how the times is coming, man. You know, where you only have a few places that look good and meet the eye or the standard of most people, and everywhere else is Shitsville. But you got it.
All right, Con. It says, it says, verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power."
Yeah, and that means they're not going to be compliant with the government's laws and their legislations.
It's going to be total chaos, man.
Total chaos. And it's going to get to the point where it's like prison is not even a punishment. Being out nowadays is just as much as a punishment than in prison. The food that most people eat is laced with all kind of drugs and the same shit that prisoners eat. when you're in prison, they actually have certain chemicals within the food that acts to cut your testosterone low, and cut your drive out. Because if you're a citizen with high drive, whether it's high sex drive or high ambition or anything that's extremely potent, you're gonna act on that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just chill with here it is you goddamn horny as a bull and your ass just in slouch mode. No, you're gonna want to act. You see? So they're trying their damnness to keep people in that real low mentality, but but it's backfiring. Like I said, people don't neglect prison anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People don't have the conscience to think and decide. I'm not saying everybody, of course, but for the most part, it's a lot of individuals with a mental illness that don't even think about the consequences for their actions. And that's why suicide is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
You know, and then a lot of people entertain these suicidal thoughts and they can't fight them.
Mm-hmm.
When those certain thoughts jump in brothers' heads, which it jump, all spirits jump, man. All spirits can jump in your head, and you can always, not contemplate as in basically you debating it, but it could fall inside of your head and you could entertain it, But say for instance those demons jump in our head, we know how to repel it, man. We know what the scripture says, but these individuals don't have that staff. They don't have that standard, and they don't have words behind them to actually push them.
Mm-hmm.
The words that they go by is the words that's just in their heads, and because they don't have resistance.
Yep.
A lot of them are already druggies,
Mm-hmm.
so they have strong persuasion. They're easily persuaded by peers. So so the right demon in their head talking the right shit, they'll go blow up a school, man.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go straight, and it's a lot of cases of that, where they'll go, parents will go in their kids' rooms or certain, they might read text messages and it might lead them to a certain part. Because some kids, some houses be big as hell, man.
Yeah.
Edomites don't even be knowing about certain addicts, so they haven't went in the attics in 12, 13 years, and they might go in the attics and they see goddamn fucking 14, 15 guns.
Yeah, because if I could add to your point, you become numb. They basically become numb to what's right and what's wrong, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why if you always look at a criminal, their rap sheet is long as hell, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not used to knowing what's right and what's wrong, man. And it's all the cause of America, man.
Mm-hmm.
With the unjust laws.
Mm-hmm.
You got a guy who gets sentenced to 30 years of life, for marijuana. And on the other hand, you got a guy sentenced to 5 to 10 years for rape. So he get out in them 5 years. He go, hey man, 5 years ain't nothing. I could go rape me 10 more women, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you like I do. I could do another 5.
Mm-hmm.
For the feeling that I'm actually getting. I've been raping for damn near 12.
Right, and I might get away with it.
And I might get away with it. And then he might have rings of immunity.
Mm-hmm.
You have certain rape immunity rings. You have certain sex trafficking immunity rings. If you get caught, that's when the government starts to bust your ass. But if you stay low key, you good.
Mm-hmm.
And the government works with you. A lot of these different individuals get funded by the top guys in those rings, which are more than likely government officials.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have dirty runners. And they work in the they're the shadow behind the people. The people don't know that this person in the government. They're just moving lost souls.
Mm-hmm.
But you continue.
It says verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Yeah, and that's barricades. That's martial law.
Yeah.
Closures.
Mm-hmm.
And the level of sickness is at an all time. Yeah, roadblocks, and the level of sickness is also at an all time high. Which we always say through the spirit is going to be something where Esau is going to push out a certain virus, or some type of resistant sickness, spliced by the government and pushed into the urban communities near you.
We even see it on a minute level now.
Mm-hmm.
As far as dealing with the roadblocks or the martial law, And we just was having roadblocks for the New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as dealing with the sicknesses, they actually got billboards promoting to get a flu shot, man.
Yeah, and they keep speaking about how people are, breaking records. It's record-breaking sicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people are actually getting sick, and Esau is deliberately breaking down your immunity. Summertime, they pushing out those chemtrails.
Mm-hmm.
They're, pushing all kind of toxins within your food supply. So when you're broken down around this time, wintertime, it's nothing for them to for your immune system to show how weak it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because wintertime really shows you how weak your immune system is. That's why you have to take certain things and eat a certain way to build your immune system. But it's getting weaker and weaker by the so-called white man. He's putting all kind of sicknesses, like I say, he's putting all kind of things and lacing your food with.
Mm-hmm.
But
can I
let's
get back a couple of verses?
Yeah, you go ahead.
This second Esdras 15 and verse 3 says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction."
Oh, verse 5?
Yeah, that was verse 5.
Yeah.
And then
like I said, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say that the Lord is not bringing these things upon the world. The world is feeling it. We don't even have to speak about the sword, destruction, and death. You can't say, death ain't, I don't see it.
Can't.
And you cut on the TV and you see all these different murders and homicides and suicides, man.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking about the plagues of hunger, which a lot of people, and you could go to a website, which I was showing brothers, theworldcounts.com. It shows you how many people are living without proper sewage, living without water, billions.
Yeah.
It ain't like 200,000 people.
Billions.
Man, the numbers are crazy. 7 billion people in the world. It'd be like 3 billion don't even have proper water. Think about the situation in Flint.
Right, exactly.
And that should have been easily aided due to the fact that damn near everybody in America are big portion of Americans are obese, and a lot of Americans eat and drink way more than they're supposed to. So, for them to cut back and give them water and things of that nature, that should have been an easy task. But America is losing their supplies. They're losing their strength.
They are.
But you go keep going. Some more on that.
Just one more verse. It's verse 6. It says, "For the wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled."
Mm-hmm. And the wicked is the so-called white man and these other nations, because they're not trying to push out the ways of Yahweh Shema Shah and restoring the planet. They're pushing out nothing but death. Animals are dying at an all-time high. You look, like I said, industries are constantly being built up, whether it's where animals live or not. They're not looking, let's just keep the communities where the wolves or the orangutans, whatever species it is, let's just let them live in their community. If it's their community sits on top of resources that they can use, if it's a plot that can actually give them access to more resources or to push, and it's a lucrative landscape, they're uprooting it.
They show you that in Planet of the Apes.
And they're locking up the animals and putting them on display in zoos, man. So we're in the end. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And I want to actually read a little bit on this article. It says under the blacklisted news, it was published January 1st, 2020. It says, "Our entire society is mentally ill." Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. Yeah, and in these times now, you gotta keep your head in the norm, man. I was just now watching this video, Valuetainment. This guy, Patrick Bet David. I think he's a Iranian. He came from Iran, and he's he lives in America now. He's a businessman, entrepreneur. He does interviews with celebrities, boxers. He does a lot of interviews. But one interview he was doing with a psychiatrist. He deals with the human mind, and they were speaking about porn addiction. They were saying that mass people, they look at so much porn that they can't deal with people, normal people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and then they'll actually get with women and things of that nature, and they think that they're gonna perform like porn stars do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get disappointed, that's what actually causes ED, because you'll be over involved in pornography, and you expect your woman to the woman you get with after watching all that shit, to be on that level. And they said that most women don't even enjoy that, but that's how people's heads are starting to escape the norm.
Mm-hmm.
People are no longer normal. This is a weirdo society.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the social media.
Because of social media. The internet.
You got like how you may be, at a bar or something. You got the guys or the women recording themselves on their phone.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But if you actually watching them, they're not even having fun. But if you look on that social media site, it look like they're having the time of their life, man.
Yeah, people aren't even as engaged as they are. They have short lifespans.
Mm-hmm.
Short what they call it, short attention spans. Lifespans too. But short attention spans. Like you say, you might try to engage individuals and they're all on their phone. You're like, yo, what the hell is wrong with this guy, man?
Mm-hmm.
Because the phone is heavily addictive, and people spend so many hours on the phone nowadays, and it actually makes them more mentally ill, to the point where they can't socialize, or they don't feel comfortable socializing, or it's not as entertaining socializing with a person face to face, interfacing, as the saying goes, and you might be talking about something that's very current, something that's very interesting, but they just not registering.
Mm-hmm.
They rather be on the internet and scrolling through, seeing some social media updates.
Yeah.
But continuing on, it says start over in the new year. Also start over at any other time during the rest of the year, whenever you want, as often as you like. Time is an illusion anyways, which is true.
Yeah.
If you want to say something.
Yeah, it said start over. Basically, you can start over any time of the year, right? But majority of the people like to make it they call it the New Year's Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Where they want to set their goals. It's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to wait a whole year to be like, oh, I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna stop doing this, stop doing that. That's really become like America it's all it's a huge following of lies, man. The people follow lies and hypocrisy. Off what's the word I'm looking for? Policy, so to speak. And it's a huge following to make it to where if you say you want to start working out, you want to stop eating pork in June, but if you do it, so they'll look at you crazy. But if you say the same thing in December, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna try to stop eating pork too.
Yeah.
It's a huge following, man.
Yeah, that what they call a New Year's resolution. Mm-hmm. Which is not even a new year if you want to be technical.
Yeah.
Esau has changed up the calendar and the pattern of thoughts to the point where you think this is a whole new year. Mm-hmm. And we in the dead of winter. The year hasn't started yet. The year starts around springtime when life starts to re-enter the world. We're in the spirit of death right now. But continuing on, it says, I cannot assure you that things will get better in the 20s. I can't assure you that they'll get worse either. Mm. What can I absolutely guarantee is that things are going to keep getting weirder and weirder. It ain't that something? He can't guarantee it's going to get better. He can't get, this is from his public publishing. But he said, I can't guarantee you. That's a fact. It is, man.
Yeah, that's a fact, man.
Because people are always looking at the top. Now we're on a opioid crisis, which I was listening to this other interview, because it's good to look into the interviews, perspectives, outlooks, people that's in these professional rings that actually have a direct sighting, and then they'll publish it, whether through article, whether orally through interviews and things of that nature, so you could, hence view inside, interview, but or enter their viewpoint. But I was finna say, they're speaking about this one thing. I'm trying to drive. I had lost a thought, but I'm gonna keep going on this. I know it's gonna re-hit me, but it says what I can absolutely guarantee is that things are going to keep getting weirder and weirder At this point in time, the only reliable pattern is the disintegration of patterns. Yeah, and people are. Oh, this is what it was. It was an interview. An individual speaking about how it's like I said, it's an opioid crisis, and if you shoot up heroin, and if you take opioids and you go to the doctor, they're gonna both of those register as the same thing. It's gonna register as heroin in your blood, and heroin itself is a very extreme drug to take, and it's normal now. Is like I said, things are getting weirder and weirder. It's normal now to take heroin on a global scale. When you think about heroin, of course, heroin injections, you look at that as terrible. Heroin addicts are worse than crack addicts, man. Jake want to talk about crackhead this. If you take, if I'm not saying, of course, in the choosing base, but if you if one were to take drugs, they would scale heroin as worse than crack cocaine. The effects are both of them are very detrimental, but heroin is an animal, man. And a lot of people speak about how it's laced with rat poison. It has all kind of different chemicals that's adverse to the body. It's not designed to be in the body, and you're taking that and injecting it, or now you're popping it and it's going through your system. And what happens? That arranges your whole makeup, man.
God.
And people are goddamn crazy at this point, That's why it says that people are getting weirder and weirder, and it's showing through their dress code. You define a weirdo by how they dress, how they talk, how they act, And most of these kids have all kind of weird. It was a time where dealing with the 70s and 80s, you didn't see Jakes with all this stuff in their hair, man.
Yeah.
Damn near Jake was like prototypes. You look at certain black communities. Either you had a low cut. You might have a like in the 80s and 90s, like mainly the 90s, you might have a fade.
Yeah, high top fade.
Or you have some braids or things
Part
like
in
that.
the head,
Yeah, a little part. But now Jake has all kind of different colors, tattoos on their face.
Shave their eyebrows.
Yeah, they shave their eyebrows. They
paint their
nails. Wear dresses. Wearing dresses is normal now. Purses.
Yeah, purses.
A lot of Jake had the purses on in the dresses, and they might claim they're straight. Never had sex with a male a day in their life. But that's what's becoming normal. And women are getting tough about the fucking day. Women are hitting the gym, muscular, right guard on. That's starting to become the norm.
Working at the warehouses.
Yeah, working at the warehouses, lifting more than you and shit. It says the mainstream worldview isn't mainstream because it is more fact-based, logical, or makes better arguments than other potential worldviews. It's mainstream because vast fortunes are poured into keeping it mainstream, and that's true. Everything that the government pushes out doesn't make it a fact, man.
Right.
They speak about all these different sicknesses, but they don't have any cures for them. Then you'll speaking of herbs, you'll say that this is the cure for this is the cure for that. Like Dr. Sabian, they'll lock your ass up, man.
Yeah,
they'll try to get you, or they'll kill you. And me as a child, and even now, I never cut on TV and I seen an advertisement for tea tree oil or oregano leaf.
Right.
But I see all these goddamn pills in my face. That should tell you itself.
Exactly.
I never heard about herbs till you have to go into books. You got to hear from professors.
Yeah.
But you'll never cut on TV and they'll say frankincense and myrrh.
Right.
It's beneficial for the lungs. You can actually turn it into this with olive oil, and you can make this. But they'll push Dayquil, they'll push NyQuil,
Advil,
they'll push
Tylenol.
Advil, Tylenol.
That stuff that has all these different types of symptoms. Because they always read at the end of the commercial everything that can happen if you take that pill or medicine. But with like the brother saying, you take tea tree oil, you burn some frankincense and myrrh. Hey, it don't have a negative symptom towards you, man.
And they know that. They know everything comes with spirits, and they're trying. What Esau is a master hypnotist. He puts these he's a magician.
The scriptures call him a forger of lies, man.
Physician of no value.
Yeah.
The Esau he's a magician. He's a physician of no value. He's a witch. He's a warlock. you know, and they run these different department stores and corporate businesses over America, and they have the money and the funds. And like it says, that it doesn't make it a fact, logical, or makes better flash flood warning, or makes better arguments. It's just mainstream because it's the main thing that's streaming. A stream is something that's pouring or that's constantly flowing towards a particular direction. And the mainstream is mainly controlled by Edomites.
Yep.
Job 9:24. You
earth
see?
is given to the hand of the wicked.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And in these times now, you know, as pursuing the Revelation 12:12, it says that the devil shall come down with great wrath. You know? So brace for, going back to the point, brace for impact. Brace for the things that should come. You know? Keep your head on a swivel. You know, it's going to get worse and worse. Just like we read in 2 Ezra 15. You just going to bring something up?
Yeah, I got to find it real quick.
Okay, that's fine. You know? It's and like I said, like I just read about the illness of the people, you know, it's not going to get better because people don't know how to heal themselves. They don't know how to cure themselves. People don't search for a cure nowadays. They have problems, underlying sicknesses that in most cases they just deal with, bottle in the frustration till they explode. And then they'll go to their fathers. They might go to, you know, whoever they turn to in Egypt. They prescribe them more sicknesses. You know, you have individuals that go to prison, and they don't go to prison and get cured, man. You know, Esau, you know, through his system, they act like prison is the cure for disorders. People when most people go to prison, you know, they made an action due to some type of mental disorder that you have a mental disorder if you're in prison. You know, because you're not in, you know, that doesn't mean you're retarded. It just means you're not in order. You're not in order for what's going on. You can't function as a citizen, you know. So they have to put you in barracks and put guards strapped with long guns to monitor you at all times because you're not, you mentally aren't in order. But they don't take these individuals and they look to cure them and to actually take care of them the right way, you know. They just throw them in a box and then they breed demons.
Yeah, they breed demons, man.
You know, if you are a con artist in prison, you learn how to be a con artist, a drug dealer, and a sex trafficker. You know, you come out with higher academics.
Yeah.
And then you go out and then you start to exercise those demons now. You start to, you know, mix it up. But you got it.
Kind of. This Proverbs 29:12. It says, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked.
Yeah, if the ruler hearken to lies, all the servants are wicked. And we know Esau, he's hearkening and he listened to a lot of lies, deception, trickery, you know, and he's known as what? That cunning hunter. And now he's shooting thoughts in man. You know, he injects you with all these different ways of ideals and ways of thinking, and then you act on them.
Yep.
You know, that's what makes majority of these people of the wicked, not because they're of the direct stock of Esau, but because they follow, as it is written, ye are as your father the devil.
Yep.
Some more of that?
No, that was it.
Okay, we go in with Revelation 12:12.
All right, guys.
You know? Are you good?
This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil.
Which the sea represents the people. You know, you read Revelation 17 and 15. Keep going.
It says, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time.
Yeah, the devil is coming down unto you, having great wrath, knowing that he have but a short time. He knows his time is short. You know, you just had was a solar eclipse. And Esau has his stargazers and daily prognosticators, as it is written in Isaiah 47, that measure these things in the air. We don't know what it means directly, you know,
exactly.
Which through the Spirit we know, according to Acts, you know, you shall see these different things and know that it's the time. You know, and Esau knows, you know, he has that time that's being cut back. You know, is constantly, you know, cutting into his world control, world domination.
Yeah.
And that's how we know that the chip is going to get pushed soon, man. You know, and we have to keep pushing these prophecies out because he's pushing them out on the right. See, we pushing out the spirit of the prophecies to come to pass, and he's executing on the left hand side. We're doing one thing on the right, he's doing on the left.
Yeah.
You see, and it says that he's going to come down with great wrath. So whenever somebody comes against you aggressively or offensively, you have to brace.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's boxing, whether it's football, whatever, sports or whatever, whether it's warfare, anything, you know,
you have to brace for it.
Yeah,
brace for the impact, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because something is gonna hit, and we know it's gonna hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but some on that.
That was it on there.
Yeah, so you know, you got to stay in the spirit of praying, stay in the spirit of fasting. You know, just stay in the spirit of you know, abstaining from these different demons and getting stronger by and by, reading, you know, studying, doing all these different things to become, you know, better individuals in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we want to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, Maki.
Shalom.